Hi ladies, are you ready to join me today as I make this fabulous card with you? Let's get started. Okay ladies, I am getting ready to start a new card. This is for the Make My Monday challenge. This week we had an inspiration picture and it was an underwater scene with shells and mermaid. I saw a turquoise and a green and gold as that. So my main colors are going to be Mint Macaron, Island Indigo, Tempting Turquoise, and I will have some gold in there, but it's going to be gold embossing. I'm going to use watercolor paper, so another watercolor idea for you. I'm also using the Detailed Santa Thinlits. You'll have to wait and see what I do with that. And then I'm using two stamp sets, Bunch of Blossoms and Seaside Shore. I'm also going to use, and I don't see it sitting here, so I've got to find it, my gold pen. So let's get started. Okay ladies, I'm going to create a watercolor background, and I pulled out my re-inkers to use instead of my pads, and I have my Mint Macaron, and I'm going to put that one there. I have my Tempting Turquoise, so I'm going to put that one there, and I'm just going to pull this down a little, sorry. Oh, there we go, so you can see, and just a tiny bit there. Then I have my Island Indigo. All right, and I forgot my thing of water. Let me go get that. All right, I have my water now. I also have a paper towel, two brushes, a flat brush and a more rounded brush, and a spray bottle of water, just in case this starts to dry out. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my flat brush, and I'm going to get it really wet, and I'm going to wet my watercolor paper. What I did was I took my watercolor paper and I attached it with washi tape, because I couldn't find my painter's tape, to a board. You want to attach it to a solid surface, because when you use watercolor paper with water, it takes and warps. So there's that. Now what I'm going to take and do is I'm going to wet my other brush. I'm going to use my Mint Macaron, and I'm just going to kind of spread it around. I want it really light. I don't want it too dark. Dark in some areas is fine. So I keep getting more water, because you can get it really light by adding water. These are water-based inks, so consequently you don't want too much water, but I don't want it too dark either. So I've got it to the point now where I like the color. So, and I'm putting some lines in there because this is going to be a water, so it needs to have some flow to it. Now I'm going to take this over to my I'm going to blot some of this off the side so it doesn't go back on my picture. I'm going to take this over and dry it with my heat tool and then come back. Okay, I dried my paper with my heat gun, and the reason I dried it is if you dry it, the colors don't run as much, and I really didn't want this green to run a whole lot, so I've done that, and this is good and dry now. I also use my heat tool because I don't want to have to wait. You can let it air dry. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to spritz my paper, and I'm going to use my Tempting Turquoise, and I'm really going to pull it out with my water. I don't know if you can see that. And now I'm going to go in And I'm going to loosely add some other colors, and I'm just kind of letting it go where I want it to. Okay, and I'm going to clean my brush, and I'm going to come in with some Island Indigo, and I really gotta use a lot of water for that because it's dark. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in with this, and it will spread on its own and blend in. And if I want it to spread more, all I do is add some water. So let me go back now. I really wanted a multi-tone effect here. So let me go back, and I'm going to add some more of the turquoise. Okay. All right, this is pretty dry here, I can tell by it. So I'm going to spritz it with water. All right, now I'm going to go in with my Island Indigo and add some colors in. Okay, I want it darker, so I'm going to put in some. I'm just going to let it blend in. Just kind of watch it do its thing. I can help it along a little bit if I want. And it's really kind of light in the center. So I'm going to go back in with my turquoise. I'm going to add some turquoise in there. And then add some Island Indigo. And this is probably because my paper is buckled so it's running to the side. But I'm really liking the way this is looking. I'm blotting off the extra on the side so it doesn't All right, what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to let this sit, and I'm going to let it air dry, because if I use my heat tool, it's going to push the color out, and I don't want to do that. So I'm just going to sit and blot it up a little on the sides as it pools up and just let it air dry. I'll be back when it is dry. Okay, this is almost dry, but I wanted to show you how the different depths that you get from this. You just have to be careful. I've apparently, when I took my tape off, I ripped it there. But I am going to cut this down, so I should be okay. It should be pretty much cut off. But I did want to leave some of the edges. But I wanted you to see this. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you, look at this re-inker that I have left. And you're thinking, what are you going to do with that? Well, watch what I'm going to do. This involves using a disposable glove because it's really messy. And I'm going to start with my green. Then I'm going to water down the blue. Then I'm going to do the Island Indigo. All right. Now, I know this works with the alcohol inks, but we'll find out if it works with our inks. This is seam binding. It's retired now, but you can dye seam binding. So I'm just putting this in here, and I am sopping up all of the ink. And I may have too much, on here. Here's some over here. We'll get it, and I'll use my paintbrush. But I probably had a piece that was a little too big. You know what I think I'm going to do? I'm going to add some more green. Mix it up. And I'm not adding the other colors because this is pretty blue. But I will add some of the green. All right, let's put this in here. Move it all around. See what I get. Oh, I still need more. And I might try it one more time, and then I may leave it because it'll be a little different. Might look nice with some white in there. I'm really going to water this down this time so I get a lot. All right, let's see. Let me do this strategically. A little bit better so that I get some of that green where the white is, so I don't have as much. Getting there. Better. Looking better. Okay, and I'm just gonna sop it up, take it off my thing, and now I have multicolored crinkle ribbon. But you have to do this with the glove or you'll end up with colored hands. All right, while I'm waiting for my background to dry, because it is a little damp, I may try and hit it with the heat tool and all. I thought I would work on some of the other pieces. When I got this, I was talking to my friend Renee, and I was thinking, that really looks like it could be waves. So I cut out, and this is the bottom of the Detailed Santa Thinlit. So I took this down here and cut it out. That's going to be in the upcoming holiday catalog. So look for that. All right. But then I'm going to take, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this just in key areas so that it looks kind of like waves. All right, and see, I'm just kind of cutting along. Okay. I'm going to cut this down this line. This was the line that when I ran it through the Big Shot, it made that line, kind of embossed it. Oops, didn't get close enough. Try again. And my thoughts are, and I may just to kind of, is when I cut this down to put this in the corner. But what I want to do is use my gold pen and edge this. So let me do that. And hopefully by that time this will be dry that I can cut it down. Okay. What I did was I took this and I dried this with my heat tool, and it did flatten it out some. You can kind of move it front to back and it will flatten out some. Now the other thing that I did was I took that piece I've got, let me hold it. I took that, my gold pen, and kind of edged this to give it a little bit of a pop on there. And then I took dots of glue and put it all over the back. And what I'm going to do is put this on the bottom. Sorry about that. My dog again letting me know that the cat's scratching my woodwork. And I added that. I'm going to add this to a white card base, and then I have my shells to work on. Okay, I put Sahara sand and soft suede. And I'm going to add some water, and I'm going to take my paintbrush and I'm going to pull it down and see what I get. And I'm really going to take and pull it way down here. Then I'm going to take, I stopped because up there's blue. I'm going to wet my paper, and I'm going to just kind of pick up some of the colors. And if you tilt it, you can get it to run, just to get some interesting colors. I need some right about there. I really like that color. If I can get some more there. There we go. Okay, and where you put your fingers, it's going to affect it also. I'm gonna, let's see, use my fingernail, kind of blot it a little. I think I'm gonna leave it at that. This has to dry, so while it's drying, I'm gonna clean up my mess. Okay, when I looked at the bunch of blossoms, I saw some shells here. So I'm going to use those outlines stamped on here in the gold, and I'm going to emboss it with my gold embossing powder, and then I'll use the punch to punch it out. I'm going to do that because I'm going to do a variety, and I'm just going to, like, sometimes it'll be down here, sometimes it'll be lighter. It just depends on what I can get. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be back. Okay, a couple of things. I embossed my shells, or petals that look like shells, and didn't they turn out gorgeous in that gold and with that little bit of depth in there with them, with the different colors? So those are ready to go. The other thing that I did was on my envelope, I stamped it in the gold, this one, the big one first, heat set it, and then I put a mask on top that I created using my punch, and then I stamped the other shells behind it. These have to be heat set, so I need to do that. But the other tip that I wanted to show you, after you emboss, you get little tiny pieces of embossing powder everywhere. Well, here's a nifty trick for you. This is a Swiffer that goes on a mop for your floor. If you take your Swiffer and run it all over your surface, it picks up all the little tiny pieces of embossing powder and other things, and it locks them in there. And then what I do to get rid of those is I shake it into my trash can, and you can reuse this many times. So there's a tip for you to get rid of all the grit from the embossing powder. All right, time to put our card together. I have a top fold card, and I took my tear and tape and I put it all over the back of this. Because this paper is warped, you want to make sure you put lots of adhesive on the back so that it stays flat. So I'm going to take this off, and I forgot to do my handy dandy trick, so I'm going to hope and pray that I get this on here even. Oops, sticking off down here on the end. Fold it under. All right. Okay, not bad. All right, and now it's time to put my shells on, and I'm going to use glue dots and dimensionals. So I'm going to use glue dots for that big one because it's going to be on the bottom. And I'm going to put one here. One stuck to my finger. Psst. Be Bijou, go lay down. And now I need some dimensionals on the back of here. I'm going to turn off the camera and do that, and then I'll come back. Okay, I added my shells. Isn't this just so pretty? I really love those shells done in the gold. And remember that ribbon that I dyed? Let's see what it looks like if I add it on to the front of my card by just wrapping it around and tying a bow. It's a good way to use up your re-inker. Okay, then I'm going to make my bow and pull it through. All right, too loose. Got to make a double knot. Okay, so let me do that. Sometimes I have to do that. All right, just make sure when you pull that double knot, you go north to south. Okay, there. Bottom, make a loop, top, over, round and through. Okay, and all right, I gotta play with this, so I'll play with it and be back. Okay, I got my bow done. I ended up taking that second knot out and just using one and holding it. I was a little nervous with everybody watching me, but I think the ribbon really makes this a really cute card. I don't typically put sentiments on my cards because then they can be used for anything. And don't forget to do the inside and your envelope. Hope this was a fun one for you because I thoroughly enjoyed it.